This is the Voice of America, Washington, D.C., signing on. This is the Voice of America, Washington, D.C., signing on. Will not start a war, but warned it wouldn't allow the West to trample on its security interest amid fears it's planning to invade Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden warned Ukraine's president a day earlier there is a, quote, distinct possibility Russia could take military action against its neighbor in February. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in an interview with Russian radio stations, quote, there won't be a war as far as it depends on the Russian Federation. We don't want a war, adding, quote, but we won't let our interests be rudely trampled on and ignored. Tensions have risen in recent weeks, and the United States and its NATO allies worry the massing of about 100,000 Russian troops near Ukraine shows Moscow's intention to attack the ex-Soviet states. Kazakhstan's president was voted chairman of the ruling party Friday, replacing his mentor and former head of state, Nursultan Nazarbayev, after a bloody crisis exposed the struggle at the top of the leadership. The move came after unprecedented unrest that left 225 people dead earlier in January. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev this month questioned 81-year-old Nazarbayev's legacy, in particular widening inequality between the elite and the poor in Central Asia's richest country. Nazarbayev ruled ex-Soviet Kazakhstan for close to 3 decades before handpicking Tokayev, a career diplomat and a loyalist, to replace him as president in 2019. Accepting his new appointment Friday, Tokayev softened his prior criticism of Nazarbayev by praising his predecessor's state-building achievements. Find more on these stories at voanews.com. This is VOA News. Nearly 40% of people in Ethiopia's Tigray region do not have adequate food after 15 months of conflict, according to an assessment released on Friday by the UN World Food Program. The agency found 3/4 of people are using extreme coping strategies, like cutting the number of meals they eat daily. The war broke out in November 2020 and pits the Ethiopian government and its allies against Tigrayan forces loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the political party that controls the region. The conflict has killed thousands and displaced millions across 3 regions in Ethiopia and into neighboring Sudan. The report comes as international concerns over humanitarian access to the Tigray region has been mounting again. West African heads of state on Friday began talks on how to respond to a new coup in Burkina Faso, hours after the military junta there appealed for international support. Burkina President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore was overthrown on Monday by mutineering soldiers on the back of public anger at his failure to stem jihadist violence ravaging the impoverished nation. Heads of the Economic Community of West African States began a virtual summit on Friday on their response to the coup, according to an ECOWAS source. The 15-nation bloc has already verbally lashed the overthrow, and in the past year and a half has suspended 2 members where coups have occurred. On the eve of the summit, the leader of the new junta called for international support. The coup is the latest bout of turmoil to strike Burkina Faso, a landlocked and poor state that has suffered chronic instability since gaining independence from France in 1960. At least 3 rockets struck near Baghdad's International Airport and an adjacent military base that hosts U.S. and other coalition advisors on Friday, damaging an abandoned commercial plane but causing no casualties, Iraqi officials said. The rocket struck in the early morning hours and landed between the civilian and military areas of the airport, according to 2 security officials. The attack is the latest in a series of rocket and drone strikes that have targeted the American presence in Iraq since the start of the year, following the 2nd anniversary of the U.S. strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Around Shiite factions in Iraq have vowed revenge for Soleimani's killing and have conditioned the end of the attacks on the full exit of American troops from the country. The U.S.-led coalition formally ended its combat mission supporting Iraqi forces in the ongoing fight against the Islamic State group last month. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey, VOA News.